What is a Weird Western and where does the Weird West genre come from? The most straightforward definition of the Weird West genre is that it combines a traditional Western with a second, more fantastical genre. What does that mean? Let me explain. I'm Jay Sherer, co-writer of the full cast audiobook and novel Death of a Bounty Hunter, a Weird West tall tale. So obviously, I dig the genre. If you finish this video and want more info on Weird Westerns and the Weird West genre, check out the reference links in the description down below. Let's take a look at the origin of the Weird West. The Western part of the Weird West genre is probably something you're already familiar with. The Western genre has existed ever since settlers left the eastern part of the United States and traveled west towards the left coast. That spirit of exploration and settlement gave rise to terms like the American frontier, the Old West, and the Wild West. While the United States had already built large, thriving cities in the East, like New York, Philadelphia, and Boston, everything west of Chicago was seen as the land of opportunity. In the late 1700s, most of what is now the Western United States was controlled by Spain. That, however, would dramatically change over the course of the 19th century. United States citizens moved west, and as they did, the United States government followed. While hardship, brutal imperialism, and outright lawlessness fueled the U.S.'s expansion towards the west coast of the continent, that era in world history produced something unique. Bold and legendary tales of the Wild West, including its heroes and its villains. Those tales gave birth to a new genre of storytelling, the Western. Westerns often focus on loneliness and isolation, morality and the development of moral codes, and extreme violence. Why? Because that era of U.S. history begs for those stories to be told as storytellers wonder, what was it like to live in the Western United States in the 1800s? But like I already said, you're probably already familiar with Westerns. They're incredibly popular and have been ever since the Old West era ended. So how did writers turn the Wild West into something much weirder? The origins of the Weird Western probably predate any of the references you'll find online. Why? Because in the 1800s, as cowboys and explorers sat around campfires, they probably told a ghost story every now and again. And the first person living in the Old West to tell a ghost story probably told the world's first Weird Western. That's because Weird Westerns are like traditional Westerns in that they almost always take place in the Old West or an approximation of the Old West. But Weird Westerns add one more key element. Weird Westerns add a second fantastical genre to the mix. What genres, when blended with Westerns, qualify as Weird Westerns? It's a pretty long list. I won't even try to list them all, but here's a smattering of them. Paranormal, like the campfire ghost stories I talked about a second ago. Supernatural, fantasy or dark fantasy, science fiction, monster or creature features, horror, occult, steampunk, and a whole lot more. The concept of the Weird Western likely arose from old pulp stories that became popular at the turn of the 20th century and stayed popular into the 1950s. Writers began to tell horror stories that took place in the Old West. And then as fantasy and science fiction became more popular, those elements started showing up in the Old West as well. So what are some examples of Weird Westerns or Weird West tales? Here are just a few examples of popular Weird Westerns or Weird West tales that have risen up over the decades. The Dark Tower series by Stephen King, the comic book series Jonah Hex, and the television shows Wynonna Earp, Westworld, and Firefly. Some might even argue, me among them, The Mandalorian is enough of a Western to warrant a Weird West label. Obviously, hundreds, if not thousands, of Weird Westerns have been produced since the Wild West existed, so those are just a few of some popular examples of the genre. I like the genre so much that Nathan Sheck and I wrote a Weird Western ourselves. In fact, if you're looking for a good Weird West tale, I would appreciate it if you would consider supporting this channel by purchasing our book, Death of a Bounty Hunter. It's about a bounty hunter who must confront the widow of a man he murdered. And Death of a Bounty Hunter was actually a semi-finalist in Screencraft's cinematic book competition. And it can be purchased as a novel or a full cast audiobook. The link to purchase Death of a Bounty Hunter is in the description down below. So there you have it, a brief history of the Weird Western and the Weird West tales that have come out over the years. I love writing in the Weird West genre because it's uniquely American in origin, but also looks beyond recorded history to deal with fantastical themes. Our book, Death of a Bounty Hunter, includes elements of steampunk, supernatural, fantasy, occult, and even some hidden references to science fiction. To me, Weird Westerns allow storytellers to express complex topics in a very fun, engaging way. If you're thinking about picking up a Weird Western or writing a Weird West tale, go for it! And I hope you enjoy the genre as much as I do. Let me know what your favorite Weird Westerns or Weird West tales are in the comments down below. Please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. If you like this video, click the thumbs up for me. Thanks for watching, and here's a bonus trailer for my book, Death of a Bounty Hunter, which is also available as a full cast audiobook. Keep writing, keep grinding, and I'll see you in the next video.
From the co-writers of the Amazon top-selling serial story, Timeslingers, comes a new, full-cast audiobook, Death of a Bounty Hunter, a supernatural steampunk western. 14 different characters voiced by 11 professional voice performers. A Korean bounty hunter named Flint finds himself in the middle of an occult plot to steal a powerful relic from an innocent woman.
Get me the Iron Spur, and I will show you true power.
Caught between the desperate sheriff who's becoming unhinged at the worst possible time.
He mutters the word like a curse dipped in sarcasm. I draw my gun and shoot him between the eyes.
And the phantom woman haunting his nightmares.
The living always think the dead are worse off.
Flint will have to make a choice, confront the sheriff's posse of misfits, or run. But he's losing time. An ogre of a man with a Gatling gun for an arm. The brash and headstrong Pinkerton agent, Geraldine Abernathy, and a young, speedster idiot ludicrously named Fancy Dude. They'll all converge at the home of a widow who's lost everything but possesses the relic they all desire, the Iron Spur.
Damn that trinket to hell. I don't care what it is or what it does or why the Duskfinders want it. I care about my children.
Death of a Bounty Hunter, the weird western you've been waiting for. Available on www.deathofabountyhunter.com.